Hey, we are back. Some people are taking a lunch break. As one of my homies used to say, smoke them if you got them. And so, look, this is your lunch break. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm going to share with you my thoughts on some low-level football or what I like to call small ball FCS, but it's far from low level. It's some dynamite athletes, football players in each league that I will be speaking about. And just for the record, I speak about nothing that I do not know. Okay, I try not to. And so, if you want Coach to do a little more politics, no, I don't. My politics are my spiritual and competitive policies and teaching policies. And so if you cross those lines, then I'll be a little more vocal, but I try not to subscribe to some of the madness out there, people. So I won't waste your time with that madness, but I will put you on some real good football. Some real good football by way of the FCS. Now, the SCS is for those who are only top 25 people or NFL people, is basically football championship series. That's what it means. FCS, football championship series, which used to be known as Division One AA. So it is Division One football. Most of these athletes were recruited and touted by your major Division One, or as you may know it, FBS programs. Okay, so when I start speaking about these teams, I've coached in four of the 10 to 12 leagues of FCS. And so I'm not going to tell you I'm an expert, because every time you think you know something, the game of football tells you you know nothing, man. You know nothing. Every time I got 50 scored on me, I thought I knew what I was doing. I thought I understood my players, the scheme, the culture around us. Hey, we got this thing on the roll. Hey, I'm the mad scientist. Hey, I'm Dr. Genius in the blitz game or in the run game. And then you get 50 hung up on you and they run for 300 yards on you. So don't subscribe to the articles. If you're a player, listen to this. Don't, if you're a coach, look, it is what it is. I don't expect many coaches to be watching this. But if they're on a lunch break, they may take it a scan. But I try to be positive about players, programs, and give some highlight and sunlight or shine to some programs on a larger level that you may never have heard of. Okay, so hey, and by the way, shout out to Dion. Man, look, only Dion Prime, Coach Prime got game time to come to Jackson State. Game day, period. Prime time got game day going to Jackson State. Say what you want, but all I got to say, it's hard to win, but it's okay to win. And Dion, go win, baby. Go win. All right. All right. So we're going to open it up with the CAA. CA again is arguably one of the best Division One AA or FCS conferences in the country. And so before we just go in, just to give you some context on the teams in the CAA. Okay. All right. So, and the CA is a huge. It's probably about a 12-team conference. All right. So here are your teams. UNH, University of New Hampshire, sitting at 5-0 in conference, 6-2 overall. Delaware, the Blue Hens, 3-1, 6-1 in conference. 3-1 in conference, 6-1 overall. William and Mary, 3-1 in conference, 6-1 overall. Rhode Island, 3-1 in conference, 5-2 overall. Richmond, 3-1 in conference, 5-2 overall. You see what is? You see the trend here? All right. So that's just your top That's your top 5 teams at 3-1 in conference. All right, now your middle of the road teams: Elon 3-2 in conference, Villanova 2-2 in conference, Maine. Shout out you, Maine. Maine got something to say. Keep doing your thing. Maine 2-2 in conference, and Monmouth 2-3 in conference. That's the middle of the pack. And you could argue that Monmouth is on the bottom end because they're below the 5. They're the team below 500. Okay, but here's the kicker. Here's the low end: Stony Brook, Hampton, 1-3, 1-4, Towson 0-4, Albany 0-4. So that's just for context as I talk about the games to watch for the weekend. Because if you didn't know, the Rhode Island and Monmouth game set a record for 7 overtimes, fam. Yo, first off, I got to speak to this on a few levels. Everyone who's checking in, you might not know, but my man, Coach Gustavius Patterson, is the receiver coach over there, and he was my offensive coordinator at Bates College. And so I talked to him. I said, hey, bro, man, now look, 48 points, 7 overtimes. He said, bro, I don't even know what was going on. But he knows one thing, and one thing for certain: they was on the W end of that 7 overtimes. And so shout out to Rhode Island. Listen now, again, Rhode Island with the 1 conference loss, they're all in a tie for second. There's a 4-way tie for second in that league. Okay, now with them getting done, Monmouth. All right, now let's talk about the following this upcoming week. Just the teams that I think you need to watch for. We always go talk about Maine because Maine got something to say. That's where we stay. Okay, Maine, Richmond. Richmond is coming up to Maine, and I unfortunately, I wish I could tell you, Richmond go have a cold day in the black hole trying to battle that black bear, but the forecast say it's gonna be pretty nice this weekend, which does not lend will to them Southern Spiders, and so I only expect Maine to come out and play some real good defense. But I'm not sure if Richmond won't be enough for them as they're trying to push into the top tier of the conference. Now this is a game that's going to be interesting. Rhode Island, William and Mary. Now, Rhode Island and William and Mary is 3-1. Rhode Island is 3-1. This is what you call a tiebreaker, people. Yeah. And now I don't know if you know, but they sort the league north and south. I think they still sort the league north and south. And so William and Mary being in the southern part of the league, being 3-0, and Rhode Island in the northern part of the league being 3-1. They have the better record in the north, depending on where you place Delaware outside of UNH, who right now is undefeated. They're playing lights out. They're 5-0. Okay. So I only say that to say William and Mary, URI, Rhode Island, and Rhode Island has to travel down to Virginia, invasion of the North, if you will. And so and Coach London over there got it going. So, this gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a real good game. 7 overtimes. The question will be: Is URI too beat up or too out of gas to take another road trip to William and Mary, who, by the way, just if you're wondering, is averaging roughly around 28 points a game? And so it'll be interesting. The defense will have to play a lot better than what they played last week, but the defense, again, man, William and Mary is going to try to throw it over the lot a little bit, but I think William and Mary is like 40-60 in the run game in their stat line. But look, Rhode Island got their hands full on this one. On just principle, they just came out of a 7 overtime win. So on principle alone, that's why they got their hands full. Okay, other thing. This is what I find even more concerning for Rhode Island is that defense that they playing against is the number 2 defense. Excuse me. Excuse me. Let me back up. The defense is the number 3 defense in the league, right? They just went up against the number 1 offense in the league. And so now they're going to play the number 2 offense in the league, and that's going to be a challenge. And I hope they up for it. And William and Mary, being that it's a home game, advantage and odds makers say William and Mary should be able to get it done. But hey, man, I live in the North. I don't live in VA. Rhode Island is in the New England sector. So I'm going with Rhode Island. All right. So the other team that we're going to talk about in the CA, and we're going to keep it rolling. And the reason we're talking about this team is because they are undefeated. UNH is on fire right now. Shout out to Coach Santos over there, my man Coach G, Coach McLaughlin over there, doing his thing. Look, man, you want to know why they're winning? I'm going to tell you, special teams. Look it up. Look it up. If you want to know why UNH is 5-0 in conference, special teams. Now, I'm going to give you just some stats to support my claims. Even though I'm biased, I hired one of the special teams guys, and DN's coach over there was my special teams coach. And if you are not following Teams Talk on Twitter, you might want to do that if you're a ball coach. Okay. All right. So here's why I will say. They've been in some barn burners, but they've handled all of the games that they needed to handle. The game that I was most surprised about them losing was to North Carolina Central. That was the one game I was surprised they lost. I was not surprised they lost to Western Michigan. They lost to Western Michigan 7-44. Now, all things after that, they was on fire. They put up 40 points on Elon, and Elon is playing some really good defense. And again, I spoke highly of the Elon staff, and they were able to hold Elon to 22 points and put up 40 points on Elon. We talked about it a few weeks ago. They shut Dartmouth out 14-0. That's difficult to do on anyone. It's even especially difficult to do on an Ivy League run heavy team who is in pursuit for the Ivy Championship. Okay. They routed Towson 37-14. And they beat Albany 28-23 in a barn burner. And opened up with Monmouth, who is new to the CAA by way of the Big South, by way of the NEC. They beat Monmouth 31-21 to open. And so I guess my point about UNH is what makes UNH very interesting to me is they're winning games with not being the top offense, but being the top 5 in defense. And don't sleep, they're still putting up points. They're playing very good situational football. And, at the end of the day, man, if you can master situational football, you can find yourself beating some teams that you shouldn't beat, and you can find yourself positioning with teams because you understand what your players do well in situations. The players have a heightened situation, a heightened understanding of the situation. And the coaches, the better teams that I've been on, the coaches almost understood how the players were going to psychologically see how they drew up the play, and which allowed for the good teams I've been on, which allowed for the player to take the technique and improve on the technique once we apply the technique to the play. I know that's a lot. And so good players are able to take what you give them, do it exactly how you give it to them, but also add some improv that you cannot teach. And so my coaches, don't stop the improv, right? Do not try to make the player's success your success. Your success, in truth, your success really has no attachment to player success, right? On the outside, externally it should, but externally, no one cares, right? So, like, I don't have any of my all conference players up like that. What made them all conference or all Americans or NFL players to me is not what got them there. They got themselves there. I poured into them so that they could receive everything that they had to go through to get there. And which brings me to I'm here. I'm going on my soapbox or whatever. When a player used to come to me and say, "Hey, coach, man, I want to go to the NFL." Now, I've been around a lot of coaches who be like, "Bro, like you're not an NFL player. Forget about it. You need to focus on what we're doing here." And whether that is true or not, um, I'm going to give you another way to approach this. Hey, coach, I want to go to the NFL. Well, listen, bro, let's sit down and look at who's in the NFL with your measurables. Let's look at where they went to school and let's work backwards. And so once we evaluate everything that this kid, okay, he was 6'2", he was 285 pounds, but he also went to Florida. Okay. What draft did he go in? He went in, what round did he go in? He went into this draft, he went into this round. What was his stats like? Let's look at his stat line. His stats wasn't great, coach. He only had like four sacks, like 10 TFLs and maybe 20 tackles. All right. So now what conclusions can we draw from that? Maybe he repped out 225 40 times. Maybe he ran at 280. Maybe he ran a 4.7. And so let's draw up our profile based on the similarities that we see in this dude. That's how I approach it when players would come to me saying they want to go pro. Like, what is it to benefit for you to like like extinguish this man's dream or extinguish his motivation with just hate ultimately? Because it's look, I get being real, but he when players trust coaches, when students or players trust coaches to give them their goals and their dreams and their aspirations, and coaches chew that up and spit it back in a way that like dials down players and kids, man, it's so discouraging um to watch. And it's even more discouraging on the kid, especially depending on the age in which he was turned down. And so yeah, man, encourage kids, give them the blueprint on how to get to the league or how to become a doctor or how to become an aviator, um, or how to get a degree in aviation for that matter, whatever it may be. Like, show them the way. Don't show them how not to. Like, if you show them the way and they don't get there, guess what? They'll look back and say, "Man, coach poured into me on that." No, I don't care what no one said. Coach poured into me on that. And like, I didn't do everything right. And that's why I didn't go to the league. I didn't do everything right. That's why I didn't graduate. That's the kind of stuff that, like, to be a coach is to transport a person from one destination to another. Coach, i.e., Coach Cart. All right. I know, yeah, like, bro, are you preaching or are you teaching or are you talking about football? Which one? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out myself. All right. So anyway, the two games we're watching this CA, William and Mary in Rhode Island, because that's gonna be a doozy. The other one to keep an eye on. Again, we started talking about this because of UNH, and UNH, because I'm a fan of what they're doing at UNH, and because I also played against the head coach at UNH. I've coached a few coaches that are on that staff at UNH, played with some guys on that UNH, coached with some guys on that staff at UNH. They're turning the key over to a young guy, young is relative these days, to a new head coach. And this new head coach was always counted out. always counted out. If you look him up, his name is Ricky Santos. Look him up. He was counted out from the get-go. He was the third string quarterback at UNH. Why am I talking about UNH? Again, because UNH is 5-0 in their division, and their new head coach was an unexpected All-American who walked on to UNH and became the starter and broke every record they have. And so UNH, Coach Santos, keep doing your thing. The reason I'm shouting them out, because that's not an easy task. One, becoming a first-time head coach for the program that you bled, sweat, and cried for. And now it's up to you to carry the torch. And this young man and my man, or this, he's a dad now, I'd imagine. So this dude is carrying a torch in a way that I felt needed to be acknowledged and recognized. So if you're not following UNH, they have a bye this week, but UNH, they got a game coming up. And they will be playing November 5th, and they're going to go down to the Richmond Spiders, who will be fighting for their lives, at that point in placement of the conference. All right, so that's my CAA update. All right, so where are we going next? Let's see. Let's go to the Ivy League. The Ivy League, the smart boys. All right, so the Ivy League, man, is a trip, man. I love the Ivy League. I respect the Ivy League. Look, these kids, this is why I have a different respect for the Ivy League. These dudes are, look, you talk about burning both ends of the candle. Like, they're training. The Ivy League is Division I first and foremost. So they're training like Division I athletes, period. So wrap that around your head, right? They got the 5 a.m. lifts. They got the 5 a.m. runs. Okay. But what they have that most people also don't have is they have probably arguably the hardest academic curriculum in the place of athletics. I don't care what Division I school you're talking about. The stuff that these dudes got to do in the Ivy League, man, just to be eligible. You talking about summer school. Yo, if these Ivy dudes in summer school is because they not playing the 4 years. They go graduate in 3. That's why. So if they go into summer school, they got a whole different plan on their mind. But in the summer, they're about this guap, this paper. And guap and paper does not translate all the way into cash or tender. Because the guap and paper, they may be doing an intern, sleeping on a couch, and having the slum to get their gym membership paid for. Like, that can be their summers, just so they can be ready for the football season and be ready for their real life after football. And so ain't no days off in the Ivy. That's why if you have never coached in the Ivy, if you don't even know any Ivy athletes, you might think these dudes are soft. You might think these dudes don't get it. But let me tell you, it's actually a few dudes I've shared on the gram and on my social who are in the league and Ivy League players. The most notable is JY, who scored a touchdown last week for the Chiefs. Like, I'm telling you, these dudes get it. So don't think just because they had high SATs and ACTs, they won't get up in your chin. Like, all right, that's enough for the boasting part of it. All right, now the game, we only go talk about 2 games in this league because only 2 matter, right? In my opinion. Okay, right now, Princeton just got to keep winning. They got Cornell. They should take care of business there. Penn got Brown. They should take care of business. Now, what should happen and what does happen doesn't always happen. That's why, if you follow me, that's why I'm always saying it's hard to win, because you can have the bag in hand, but you still got to get out this door, bro. The bag in your hand, now you got to get out the door. And so Princeton, Cornell is going to Princeton. This should be a W for Princeton. It should be. Okay. It's at Princeton. Cornell got to travel all the way from upstate New York. Like, that sucks. And they're not winning right now. They 1-2 in the Ivy right now. And so they need this win just to break to the 500 point, to be 2-2. And Princeton is undefeated, flat out. Okay. So is this a trap game? It shouldn't be. Shouldn't be. But that's what I'm talking about. Okay. And then, all right. And here's what I love about Princeton. I've said it, and I don't know if you guys even listen to me, but Princeton, I'm not a fan of by trade because I coached at Penn, but I got to respect what they do. The so what mentality. So what, I scored 3 touchdowns. So what, I'm on the Walter Payton watch list. So what? We are on a mission, and the mission doesn't stop until week 11. Because in week 11, it's over. Not week 10, week 11. It's not over at week 10. It's over in week 11. And so, shout out to Princeton. All right, Penn. I don't know what Penn's mantra is this year. I haven't really been tied to my guys up there as of late, but Penn is also undefeated. And they have Brown, who unfortunately is 0 in the Ivy. They're 0-3 in the Ivy. So the reason why this is a trap game, because Penn has to go to Brown. They have to go to Providence, Rhode Island. And Brown traditionally plays Penn tough. The atmosphere isn't great, so sometimes that can catch you. It's a lot of things that can catch you when you're undefeated and you're in pursuit to get to a destination that's 3 weeks away. That's what makes this challenging. That's what makes this a trap game, because they might be looking over them. To who, I don't know. Like, they already beat Yale. They already beat Columbia, because it doesn't matter, because whoever they playing right now is the only people they need to focus on. But it's still a trap game because it's Brown. And they got Boy Wonder over there who's trying to get it on the right page. So yeah, man. Shout out UPenn. I can't wait. If they both are undefeated, you're gonna see game day. Game day. Hey, I know y'all went to prime time. If Princeton and UPenn is undefeated, game day, y'all gotta go. Y'all gotta go to wherever they at. Y'all gotta go to wherever they at. I'm telling you, that's gonna be a game you want to see. I don't care about the Harvard Yale game. It ain't gonna be worth nothing if it's not gonna be worth nothing if Princeton and Penn take care of business. I'm just telling you. So game day crew, look up the stats, get bare on the stats, do whatever you got to do, get it done, get her done, as my coach used to say. Because if this trend holds, their season will be over right before the next Thanksgiving games and the big conference title rivalry games. Because I know y'all got to be at the big boys. But if you can make it, I'm just saying that's the game you want to be at. All right. And that is my Ivy lunchtime preview for the weekend. All right. I think you guys understand as I go into the next 2 leagues, I don't want to go talk about all the teams, because all the teams aren't in play at this point. We talk about the teams that's moving, talk about the teams that's in play, talk about the teams that's making a play. Okay? Unless it's a team that's dear to my heart or my personal purview. Okay? All right. Oh boy, the NEC will be crack-a-lacking this weekend, people. Crack-a-lacking this weekend. All right, y'all like, well, coach, what is the NEC? That is another Division I FCS conference, Northeast Conference, comprised of schools Merrimack, Stonehill, Duquesne, Long Island University, Central Connecticut University, Central Connecticut State University, Wagner College, St. Francis, Pennsylvania, and Sacred Heart. And as we finish with the last two teams, I'm just going to tell you this game is going to be a barn burner. Sacred Heart, the shoe, SHU, okay? They got some running backs over there doing their thing, okay? They got their quarterback over there doing their thing, okay? They O-line over there doing their thing, all right? My man Malik Grant doing his thing. He the running back, and I ain't saying he doing his thing just because his name Malik, but he doing his thing. And then my man L. Armstrong doing his thing. They both are combined. They both are combined for 9 touchdowns. Malik Grant got 6, and Armstead got 3. They running the ball. Period. Collectively, they almost got 200 carries between the both of them. So the second back is getting set. The second back got 70 carries. Grant Armstead got 70 carries. Grant got 136 carries. They running the ball. Now, why am I talking about this game? Because this game is going to be as throwback as you get, action-packed, linebacker, fullback, ISO, head crack. Now can the running back get loose? This is the kind of game this is going to be, okay? All right, here's a kicker. Here's a kicker because those are all St. Francis guys, right? So when you look at St. Francis running back with 3 touchdowns and Sacred Heart's running back with 6 touchdowns, like, you know what it is. I'm just saying, you know what it is. Now, the difference between these two teams is, look, Sacred Heart can throw the ball. They got a receiver that got 2 touchdowns. Womack got 2 touchdowns for 500 yards. But St. Francis has a big play guy, right? Not as many receptions, but it's getting busy. So we'll see. That's a game to watch, people. St. Francis, Sacred Heart, they both are going to run the peel. They going to run the air out the ball. You go hear all the clap you want for that game. Tune into that if you're interested, because that's for the league right there. That's for the league, because if they get this done, whoever's going to get this done, hold the line, they're going to have to come in number 2. Because everyone else, the next closest people will be Merrimack. And I'm saying Merrimack being new, yes, they 4-0. Yes, they'll be in a conversation in the league. But I honestly think by the time St. Francis and Sacred Heart sort their battles, they'll get to Merrimack. That's just my gut on that. And those are the only teams to talk about. Merrimack should take care of business against Stonehill, who is 1-2 in conference and who is also new to the NEC, 3-2 overall. But again, the game will be in Massachusetts, so it will be Merrimack versus Stonehill, semi-battle mass, or something like that. I don't know, whatever. All right. So that's the Northeast Conference. Those are the teams that I wanted to talk about. That's in, that's out. This is the lunch hour. And shout out to all the players who tune in, all the coaches who tune in. Look, if it's one thing that I can leave with you, is keep doing what you do. Coaches, let players do what they do under the guidelines and mentorship that you can give them, because they got to play. Period. You are to answer for some of the things that they do on that field, but you know what you trained them to do, and you know who the kid is and what he's innately going to do. Your job as a coach is to find that nice sweet spot to where the kid feels like he has the freedom to be him, and where the coach feels like he is instilled discipline amongst his team to where they can go give it and empty the tank and go eat. And listen, I'll give my NFL preview and thoughts and everything in between. But we got to watch this Thursday game first. I don't like talking NFL pre-start, but I will. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I don't know. Until next time, my name is Coach Malik Hall. I will bring myself. All you got to do is bring the link, and we'll catch up. Till next time. Peace.